Have you ever wondered how to recognize truth from deception, especially when it comes wrapped in spiritual packaging? The story of Noadiah, a false prophetess who opposed Nehemiah's divine mission, offers powerful insights into this timeless challenge. The year is 445 BC, and Jerusalem lies in ruins. Its walls, once proud and strong, are now little more than scattered stones. Enter Nehemiah, a Jewish cupbearer to the Persian king, who has returned to his homeland with a burning passion to rebuild Jerusalem's walls and restore his people's dignity. But not everyone welcomes this restoration project. Among the opponents stands Noadiah, a self-proclaimed prophetess who joins forces with other adversaries to derail God's work. She represents a particularly dangerous form of opposition, one that claims to speak for God while actively working against his purposes. Nehemiah faces a complex web of resistance. Sanballat, Tobiah, and other local leaders already oppose the wall's reconstruction, fearing Jerusalem's renewed strength. Now, Noadiah adds a spiritual dimension to this opposition, likely prophesying falsehoods to discourage the builders and undermine Nehemiah's leadership. In Nehemiah's own words recorded in chapter 6, verse 14, he prays, "Remember Tobiah and Sanballat, O my God, according to these their works, and the prophetess Noadiah and the rest of the prophets who would have made me afraid." This brief but powerful reference reveals the severity of the threat these false prophets pose to God's work. What makes Noadiah's opposition particularly challenging is its spiritual nature. She likely claimed divine authority for her messages, making it difficult for some Jews to distinguish between true and false prophecy. Yet Nehemiah demonstrates remarkable discernment, recognizing that any prophecy opposing God's clearly revealed will must be false. The broader context shows a pattern of psychological warfare against Nehemiah. His enemies employ various tactics: intimidation, false accusations, and even attempts to lure him into a trap. Noadiah's false prophecies form part of this coordinated effort to instill fear and halt the reconstruction project. Despite these challenges, Nehemiah remains unwavering. He combines practical leadership with spiritual wisdom, keeping his workers armed while maintaining their focus on the wall. He recognizes that the opposition isn't merely political or social. It's a spiritual battle requiring spiritual weapons. Nehemiah's response to Noadiah and other false prophets offers timeless wisdom. He doesn't engage in lengthy debates or public confrontations. Instead, he takes his concerns directly to God in prayer, maintains his focus on the assigned task, and lets the results speak for themselves. The wall's completion in just 52 days stands as a testament to God's faithfulness and Nehemiah's determined leadership. This remarkable achievement demonstrates how divine purposes prevail despite human opposition, even when that opposition comes from religious figures claiming spiritual authority. This ancient story resonates deeply today. In our world of competing voices and claims to truth, we face similar challenges in discerning authentic spiritual leadership from false guidance. Nehemiah's experience teaches us to test everything against God's revealed will, maintain focus on our divine assignments, and trust God's protection against opposition. The story of Noadiah serves as a warning about false spiritual leadership, while simultaneously encouraging believers to stay true to God's calling. It reminds us that opposition to God's work often comes disguised in spiritual language, requiring believers to exercise careful discernment and maintain unwavering faith. Through this episode, we learn that success in God's work doesn't require defeating every opponent, but rather staying focused on the mission He has given us. Nehemiah's triumph over Nodiah's opposition demonstrates that when we align ourselves with God's purposes, no amount of false prophecy or spiritual manipulation can ultimately prevail against His plans.